it's really a testament to Alok and the 1BR producing team because they flew us out. They took care of us, and not all do. I can't tell you how many times I see, oh, my movie's at Tribeca. Oh, we're at Telluride this weekend. And I haven't even been invited. Wasn't even aware it was happening. Like, they, much less given the opportunity to go, much less had that paid for. So the fact that they did that for us, it's really, they just went way above and beyond. And, you know, I appreciate that. We make a lot of money doing this movie. And so, you know, there were other perks.
That's independent film, absolutely.
We enjoyed some poutine at 3 a.m, you know, on the house. Because especially now, we all having to, like, just make sacrifices. Like, the industry, no one's making the money that we were. We're just glad to be working at all. When there's little things like that, they really make a huge difference.
Welcome to the That Screening Podcast with JK. We continue our episodes focused around the screenings from the Montreal-based film festival, Fantasia. Celebrating its 30th anniversary, we head back to 2019 for one of the true surprise films and screenings in the recent Fantasia history, surrounding the cult thriller and former #1 film on Netflix, David Marmor's 1BR. After moving to Los Angeles, a young woman discovers her seemingly friendly apartment complex is actually home to a dangerous cult. Discussing the screening, the experience, large cast and crew Q&A, community, and after effects of Fantasia, we welcome to the That Screening Podcast talented actress playing Janice and known for her roles in Him, an American Horror Story freak show, Miss Naomi Grossman, as well as the powerhouse producer of 1BR, Alok Mishra. Make sure to listen in, share, and support That Screening on all major streaming podcast platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple, iHeartRadio, and more. Plus, follow us on Instagram at A Strange Man in the Film Land. Thank you for listening and supporting the That Screening Podcast with JK. Here on the That Screening Podcast, moving through our block of conversations, our episodes around the same time of Fantasia, which is currently going on in Montreal. Blessed to have Stephen Lee last week talking The World's End. We've got George Mihalka, we've got Susan Curran, them together, and a part coming up, and Fred Vogel packaged in the middle for the 25th anniversary of August Underground. With that being said, though, got a very special episode because if you follow the Instagram for myself, or you listen on SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, whatever the major streaming platform is, you know how much and how impactful two of the guests are in my life in a lot of different circumstances because of Fantasia, because of a particular group interview for an incredible film, which we're going to be talking about, and the impactful and kind of launching screening, I think I can say safely, for it as it became #1 in Netflix, as we talked about. It was a staple of the pandemic viewing, which was right place, right time, which is an incredible thing. A lot of people's worlds a lot better during that period. Without further ado, here on That Screening, we welcome two returning guests. And Naomi, it's been a longer time for you, young lady, but happy to have you back. Talented performer, as we heard in the introduction, Naomi Grossman, welcome back. And you playing the role of Janice in 1BR, and Alok Mishra, producer extraordinaire, friend, someone who I got a chance to see when we were out in Los Angeles a couple of years ago. Love you, man. Welcome both of you to the That Screening Podcast. How are you both doing?
Great.
Can't
you
complain.
say young lady. I think I'm not such a young lady now. It's been that
long. You look amazing. Stop. Anyway, you're going to make me blush. So we're here to talk A very important screening, and I'll throw it over. Alok, I'm going to throw it to you first on this, only because you were my contact person up there that I got to know in Montreal. What are we going to be talking about on this episode of that screening?
I mean, we can talk about 1BR. We can talk about what we're working on. There's a lot of different things we can go over.
Well, let's go over 1BR because this is about lasting film screenings and personal cinema, and for both of you in different ways, but again, connected. 1BR and the world premiere, again, going back to July 18th, 2019 at Fantasia, one of those screenings where it seemed like everybody came to it and it was so superb and so loved. Alok, I'll throw it over to you first. Fantasia is arguably one of the top 10 in the entire world globally for film festivals. You know, you sitting there with David, sitting there with everyone involved with it. What was the thoughts going into knowing that you were going to play Fantasia?
Well, I'll be honest, we had been rejected actually 16 times
Wow.
before someone said yes. And the reason was the movie wasn't finished. People, we think that, oh, well, festival directors, whoever's watching it should be able to see with better eyes and understand, like, if the, sound isn't completely 100% or the color isn't corrected or whatever. But what you realize is that who's probably watching the film first is some intern who can't see with better eyes, and they're very inexperienced. Maybe they're in film school, who knows. They haven't kind of found their footing in terms of understanding when things aren't finished and seeing kind of the potential. And so that was the lesson learned, actually, and that's a lesson to most other filmmakers out there. I would try and submit your film when it's 100% done, because you will go through a lot of rejections, but thank God we went through rejections, because it brought us to Fantasia. And when we submitted to Fantasia, it was very, very close to being done. We got so lucky getting in. Once we were in, it was like we were like the girl that comes back after summer and she's like blossomed and she's hot. And then everyone wanted a piece after that. But it was only because we had a successful premiere at Fantasia. We found a buyer for the film, a distributor for the film at Fantasia. We hadn't had that yet. So it was actually kind of planned that we wanted sort of a bidding war, and we did get one, actually, because we had a couple great screenings at Fantasia. It was interesting. The best part about going to Fantasia wasn't just how the film kind of blew up, because we had like 20 reviews or something out of Fantasia, all very positive, in fact. What was really special, I think, is meeting a lot of the other filmmakers and developing relationships with those people. And in fact, I'm producing a couple films with some of those people that I met at Fantasia, like Heather Buckley. It'll always be a special festival for me, because it was like, first off, a first film in Fantasia. Hopefully we'll have more. It was just getting to meet those people and getting to sort of see the other films that were out there in addition to that were so special. And then getting to meet you. And a lot of different journalists, in fact,
Right.
actually, who I've weirdly stayed, friends with and stuff. That was sort of the main takeaway for me was, yes, we had a successful first premiere, world premiere at Fantasia, and we got to meet a lot of great people. Those were my two main takeaways.
Naomi, I don't know if this was your first time at Fantasia, but you were there. You're part of an amazing ensemble for 1BR. You stand out as always. You've had such a great career, such a great history. What does it feel like knowing you're going to Montreal to a festival like this?
Yeah, I'd never been to Montreal. It's a beautiful city. It's an awesome festival. I don't know that I'd had an experience like that before. I'd not been to Sundance at that point. I'd definitely not been to Cannes. I only just recently went there for the first time. I'm very versed in like the horror con world, but as far as like, film festivals that are really, not for fans, but rather, film connoisseurs is a
Right.
whole nother thing. And it was a great first time. You never forget your first.
How was it being around? And Naomi, I'll stick with you on this. How was it being around so many people who came out both in front and behind the camera to support this film and support the world premiere?
It's really a testament to Alok and the 1BR producing team, because they flew us out. They took
Wow.
care of us, and not all do. I can't tell you how many times I see, oh, my movies at Tribeca. Oh, we're at Telluride this weekend. And I haven't even been invited. Wasn't even aware it was happening. Like they, much less given the opportunity to go, much less had that paid for. So the fact that they did that for us, it's really, they just went way above and beyond. And, you know, I appreciate that. We make a lot of money doing this movie. And so, you know, there were other perks.
That's independent film,
We
absolutely.
enjoyed some poutine at 3 a.m, you know, on the house. Because especially now, we all having to like just make sacrifices. Like the industry, no one's making the money that we were. We're just glad to be working at all. When there's little things like that, they really make a huge difference.
From doing like 1BR, and obviously she had done American Horror Story,
Yeah.
to doing like Him with Marlon Wayans and released by Universal, I want to say, and she's on the poster. So I feel like, yes, 1BR was small potatoes in comparison to other things that she's even recently done, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, but 1BR though, #1 on Netflix. You bring up poutine and Montreal, it's like a summer camp going to Fantasia. There's so many people out there through the 3 weeks. There's such a wide spectrum of films, Alok. What was that like going out there and being on the inside as a featured film, having a world premiere there and doing things with the people that make this festival happen annually?
It was awesome. Like, I mean, look, there was so many different things, sort of different emotions sort of going on at the time because we were, you know, trying to sell this movie and we didn't know how it was going to be received. I mean, I remember I stopped Joe, like, forget his name, Lipset, I think, or something. He was bloody disgusting. And I was like, ah! Like, I mean, there were a lot of emotions going on. And it was a thing where, I mean, we got to meet, like, I got delayed. My flight got delayed, and we were driving with Joe Bagos to get to the airport, and then our flight kept on getting delayed, so we just got drunk at the bar together. It was awesome. Like, I mean, how often do you get to do that? And he was just coming off not only VFW, but Bliss had also premiered at the festival as well. So it was interesting to kind of pick his brain a little bit because he'd kind of gone through the whole thing in terms of distribution and like just kind of the festival circuit and everything. And we actually did see, you know, those guys and the guys from like, you know, Heather Buckley from Ranger and then the guys from Dead Dicks, like all over the world. Like, you know, because like we were on the sort of festival circuit and we would meet up like at different places. Are you going to that one? Oh, you're not going to that one? Okay, I'll take a picture of the crowd for you. So that was like one of the kind of amazing things of sort of being on the inside. Also, I think we threw a really great party, which was like half of the battle, I think. So that was like really great to meet everyone and see like a lot of different journalists and different filmmakers and stuff like that. That wouldn't have happened if we, you know, hadn't had a film there. You know, as far as the actual festival, is there a better programmed festival like in the world, really, in terms of genre? Like, I mean, Citrus and them are like head to head. I think that they're the top. They fight for 1 and 2. It's like Stanford and Harvard. They go back and forth every year. Yes, as an insider, it was really great to be able to make that the first festival and see like all the different amazing films that were playing there. I mean, we saw stuff like, you know, The Wretched and like Swallow and The Ranger and like all these like and Dead Dicks, all these amazing films that like kind of like got picked up and, you know, got distribution that didn't have distribution because of that festival, because a lot of tastemakers and a lot of distributors, some of them honest, go to said festival.
It kind of reminds me like Tigers Aren't Afraid, Issa Lopez's film. Same way. It took many, many rejections to be able to get it to where it was. And just like yours, it became a phenomenon. And it's still out there. It's a part of people's viewing. It's on favorites lists. So there's a lot of people who love 1BR. Going into the auditorium on the campus of Concordia, what was that like to be able to see your film in that place, to be introduced by Mitch? Where'd you sit? Talk a little bit about that.
I think we sat in the kind of halfway up towards the back, I want to say. It was, of course, an honor to be like introduced by Mitch. I mean, he runs, like I said, arguably like the first or second, depending who you're talking to, biggest genre festival in the world. So, of course, it was like, what an honor to premiere there. What an honor to be introduced by him. I was kind of electric, the sort of energy that was in that room, as I recall. And it was great having like so many of the different stars that were in the movie that we actually like we were just like, look, we're gonna fly you out there, and just for that screening, we want you to be in the Q&A and da da da. And it was funny, like even doing the Q&A, like after the movie was over, was so much fun because there was like things that the cast didn't know about that were revealed during the Q&A. In fact, they didn't know that we had one of our trucks stolen, and a high-speed chase ensued. And then we showed the footage of them actually capturing the handsome convict, as we call him. Naomi really wanted to date him. Like, that was part of the thing where she was like, look, I don't have a boyfriend, but if we can put him to work in some sort of work release program, she was definitely game to go on a date with him. But look, going back to the screening itself, like that was...
Well, I think the idea was that he owed us...
Yeah, a little bit.
Restitution.
Yes, exactly. And so we knew the likelihood of him paying was not great, but he could work off what he owed by sex.
Pulling some lights. Oh, there you go.
Sex, yes. Pictured him more as a monkey butler, just doing my bidding. Naomi had other plans for him. But anyway, we got to show that actually at the Q&A. And then what was even more interesting is I think used that. It's one of the extras actually on our Blu-ray is that actual Q&A and showing the handsome felon. That was, and then just not to plug the physical media because it's everything now. The Blu-ray
for $1 you can pick it up on Amazon. Naomi, that reaction to the film, the meowing and everything that goes along with it, what's that like to be around the crowd like that?
I don't remember any meowing.
They meow at the beginning of the movie.
They meow at the beginning of the movie.
And there's always a commercial for noodles. That's like the other big thing. There's always a commercial for this ramen.
So clearly I don't remember anything.
That's
when you were asking that question, I was like, oh my God, this person is asking me to literally like go back in time. Like so much has happened.
Fair, you were also coming from a great party, and you might have been a little,
there you go.
I don't even remember like if I just sugared my coffee, you know what I mean? Like, so it's not, I will say, as you were asking that question, I was like, oh my God, if I have to answer this, like, what am I going to say? Because how could I possibly? And yet, then a flash of the handsome felon came on, and I was like, oh, right, that happened. Very distinctly remember, being on that stage and seeing that footage for the first time and pissed that the filmmakers, kept this from us. They literally only delayed our call time by like a couple of hours. And
like an hour.
Why? It was amazing. I mean, the fact that I would have had to delay it for at least a week. Yeah, that was very fun. And yeah, if I recall, it was a late screening, which is fun. I mean, it's a horror movie. Well, of course, as it should be, right?
Right. It was like 9 o'clock. I think it was like a 9 o'clock screening.
Yeah, that's a pretty late screening for, and horror is best at night. Going through the press for that film and being there with so many people, except for me, I can only speak for myself. I love talking with big groups. I love being able to go around and get everyone and be a part of this. But it's not always easy for a lot of press to be able to do that when you have so many people. Having your opinion heard about the film during that press time, during the world premiere, what was that like to talk to the different press people and be able to talk about the film?
As I recall, we did do a group thing, and I'd never done that before. Whenever I'd done press for American Horror Story or whatever, it's always been, one-on-one, maybe on a press line on the red carpet or something, but never actually getting to, hear other people's answers. It's funny when I do like panels, for example, we all kind of know each other after a while. And so we know, so-and-so is going to tell this story. Oh, this is my chance to give Matt shit about having a penis that's longer than his arms. You know what I mean? Like there are cues that I know. Oh, this is my cue. So this was sort of a unique situation in that Happy Family, we'd never gotten a chance to be on a panel or hear each other's, answers before. So that was really fun. And it was such a nice group. There was no anyone, throwing each other under the bus, big penis or small arm.
Listen, you know what? Everyone's got their pluses and minuses. That's perfectly fine when it comes to it. Naomi, what was your favorite part of Montreal while you were out there? Is there anything that stuck out to you?
The city itself is gorgeous, and The food is incredible. I
True.
remember at one time actually jumping on a bike with Taylor Nichols, who's a big bicycle enthusiast. He found like some city bikes and we just toured around the town. We saw the architecture. There's gorgeous, landscaping and sculpture around the city and that was really special. It was a unique place, a unique group, and I feel like I really made the most of it.
I was gonna say Taylor Nichols actually lives like 3 blocks away from her, and so you are very likely to catch him. You see him on a bike. Like he is a huge bike enthusiast. I think he did something for the city of West Hollywood in regards to bikes actually and biking. I
As
want
am
to say.
I. The World Naked Bike Ride happened without me.
My favorite thing in Montreal was the people. That was probably my favorite thing. I did love the soup dumplings as well. They were otherworldly, but the poutine as well. I had poutine like every meal. I was like trying to see which poutine was better. Like there was a tasting of poutine every night. Anyone who came with us, we got ordered it. We went to an amazing restaurant, I think called Helicopter, right? That's where we had our cast dinner. That was fantastic. But just the people, meeting everybody, a lot of like locals, like Johan and the team from RKSS. What's the name of their team? Production company?
RKSS, yes.
Yeah, meeting those
Johan
guys.
and all of them, yeah.
Getting those guys, meeting Albert, Mahmoud, and those guys that did Dead Dicks, and just meeting all the different filmmakers was, I think, my favorite thing about, kind of Montreal, besides the food and everything else. Like that was cherry on top, I will say.
Do you remember anything, Alok, in the screening that really stood out to you? Anything? Because, it's great projection. It's beautiful sound. That's a great place to world premiere your film.
Despite the fact that it's a college campus, the projection and the sound were amazing. Like all the places like the movies were screened were like perfect. There was nothing bad about any of them. Truth be told, we'd done some testing of the movie, because I used to test movies. That was my background. So we did like 4 screenings of like 25 people when it was sort of a work in progress to see how the movie would play. And we knew sort of hopefully which parts would hit like with an audience and stuff. They oohed and awed and flinched and, you heard the gasps and different things at all the right time. So it was really like reinforced what we sort of knew, but then we got to see it for the first time, like in a live audience. It was great. And it was funny because like I went like all around the world to different festivals, and in different countries, they would react differently to different parts, interestingly enough. It was interesting seeing it for the first time with an audience, for sure. That was always very special. We felt like we had something once that screening was done, not only because of the audience reaction to it, but also we just started getting like emails the second the screening was over from distributors.
Wow.
So we knew, we're like, we'll worry about that tomorrow. Let's just get drunk tonight.
Well, that's one of the beauties of the Festro. As someone who's, spent 4 or 5 years on it, pre-pandemic, 25 weekends a year. You go across the country and around the world, Alok, and you're right. Different crowds have different impressions with the film, and seeing it in front of so many eyes, being able to grow that grassroots of it, and then having it hit distribution and Netflix again, as we talked about earlier, was so important. Naomi, was there anything you remember from the screening that stood out to you?
Other than the handsome felon.
He's very popular, we know. You should have brought a picture of him so he could have saw it.
No.
You'll have to go through and freeze the DVD and or I can send
make
you
a
the video.
mask.
Am I wearing this mask now? What is going on?
Yes.
Oh my God, this is really going to be a great film. You could merge all these films. I love it. Naomi, what about this film is important for you?
Alok has been a dear friend of mine for a very, very, very long time. So for me, it was giving me a chance to work with a friend. I remember when he, first asked me, to audition. First, he had me read the script, like, what do you think? And I told him, like, yes, let's do this. And then he asked me to audition. And then he ran that audition. He was actually one of the readers, which was...
you wear many hats as an independent
fair enough.
filmmaker.
But here's the thing. I have sat around many a Trivial Pursuit table with Alok in which he will literally read the questions so unintelligibly just to throw off his, opponent. Well, this was no different. He was literally like trying to read in such a way that I couldn't possibly follow. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw the movie, I thought it was great. Also, barely in it. So the fact that I managed to score a trip to Canada and all this melted cheese curds for basically like extra work was pretty remarkable. And the fact that we're here still talking about it is even more incredible. I can only hope that, if there is a sequel, I'll have a little bigger role.
Fair enough.
You've read the script. You know that there's maybe a bigger role,
Well,
perhaps.
when is this movie happening? That's
fair enough.
We're trying to get it made. Nicole just had a baby. What can we do?
Let's finish it up with this, guys. Alok, I'll go to you first. Is this a top 5 screening of 1BR overall?
Oh, certainly. It was our world premiere, and the energy in that crowd was great. They, like I said, they oohed and awed and gasped and did the whole thing when they should. We had a great thunderous sort of applause after the movie was over. The Q&A was fantastic. So good, in fact, it's on the Blu-ray. I mean, looking back on it, I hate to say it to the other festivals. There were different things at different festivals, We played this festival in France called Gérard May. It's up in the French Alps. And literally 1,800 plus people saw the movie over the span of like 4 days, and the audiences were insane. Like we saw it with 800 people. But that was our biggest screening we ever had, I would say. But 800 people like sold out, like just packed to the gills. It was like, that's crazy. Who knew? Like you're sitting there, like we were just like happy that we got into any festival. But going back to your question, definitely probably my favorite screening of all time because of just everything. We were nervous. We had butterflies. We didn't know if it was really going to be accepted very well. We didn't know how it was going to be reviewed, for that matter. Right. I was nervous about that because I'd tested movies and I did know how important, getting that Rotten Tomatoes score.
Right, it is.
Currently 89% certified fresh, my friends.
Congrats.
But if you haven't seen it, you should go out and see it. We're getting paid some real money on Peacock over there and Tubi, and it's on Plex and Roku and Pluto TV, all over the place, and Shudder in many countries. I'll say that too, in the UK, for example. Yes, probably my favorite screening. The only other festivals that would compete with it would be Gérard May and then Beyond Fest, because that was kind of our homecoming.
Right.
We were premiering in LA for the first time, and we get to have pretty much almost everybody associated with the film came out. We had 50 people of the 250 seat theater that were from our movie. So
fair enough.
That was a great one too. But my favorite probably would have to be Fantasia.
Naomi, is it for you top 5 overall festival screenings of your work?
I mean, I'm struggling I don't know that I've ever seen my work at a festival otherwise. Okay. Honestly, like I said, all I do is open up my social media and there's my movie at such and such, or, this weekend, and I'm not there. I wasn't even told about it. Again, kudos to the filmmakers who not only told us about it, but made sure we were even there. I mean, I've done more television than film. This by far the best, and also possibly the only.
No, Naomi, fair enough.
Thus far, she's potentially working on some really cool movies. We met with a lot of interesting filmmakers at Cannes, and I think that you'll see her in some interesting parts coming up too, and on the festival circuit, by the way.
But you know what? Being whether it's number 1 on the list or just the only one on the list for the time being, Naomi, it's still a big one on the list because it's impacted so many people. And Alok, as you talked about with all the different streaming platforms, you can see it. Last question for you, Naomi. I'll throw it to you first. Alok, you can finish us off. What's one word to describe this screening, Naomi, and why?
Oh, that's so hard. Anticipatory. Again, only because it was a process. We, like I said, I was early in reading it even before they were, committed to do it. Then I remember after we shot it, I am one of Alok's inner circle. And so I was invited to those smaller get-togethers of 25 people or whatever. And so I saw it very early on. Then, of course, we had those reshoots, which was like a good, what, like 6, 9 months later. I mean, if you watch the movie carefully, you'll see my hair isn't the same. Like, there's all
Right.
sorts of, things that are not the same. I mean, they were rejected 16 times. That takes a
Right.
minute. So the fact is, there was a lot of buildup, and then finally we were, there and we were showing it. And so anticipatory would be my word.
All right, Alok finishes off, one word and why.
I think I've said it before, but electric. The audience, the energy, everything we were nervous, we were excited. Just the energy of that crowd was specifically electric. I wonder if the movie would have been the movie it is today without having that premiere, frankly, because we had everything that could have gone right went right for us at that festival. I mean, like 20 reviews, like good reviews from Variety and the Hollywood Reporter, as well as our brethren at, between Bloody Disgusting and, Roger Ebert and all these people that we later, became friendly with and stuff. It hit on all cylinders. We had like 6 different companies trying to make offers on the movie. And then we went with a company that was able to get us onto Netflix, which is very rare for most independent films. It's tough to even get on Netflix, let alone get to #1 on Netflix. That certainly boosted us, certainly boosted like Nicole's profile, right? I think that everyone associated with the film had a good glow from it. That was the nice thing, if anything. I think that it kind of elevated certain people's careers for sure. And it really did sort of, I think, at the end of the day, it's a good example of an independent film that made good.
Make sure to listen in, share, and support That Screening on all major streaming podcast platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple, iHeartRadio, and more. Plus, follow us on Instagram at A Strange Man in the Film Land. Thank you for listening and supporting the That Screening podcast with JK.